YouTube, welcome back to Universe X, and as per usual on set release, I'm gonna go through my top 10 picks for cards that just caught my interest like right off the rip. When it comes to these, I feel like a lot of the value in this set is in the SRs. Like there's a lot of times where I find like a couple commons, uncommons, and I'm just like, ooh, but it ain't this one. It ain't this one. Like a majority of the heat is in the SR slot for this set. Now I do know that I'm gonna be talking about certain cards that you know, I probably haven't done archetype reviews on yet. There was kind of a gap of content, and if you guys still want me to go over blue and green respectively, just let me know in the comments. If there's enough interest, I will do it, because the channel ain't anything without the people that watch it. So like I said, y'all let me know if you want me to do it. But as it stands, JK though, but really as it stands, I have not done green or blue. So the normal plugs, if you haven't been by the official Facebook group for the card game, that's where you get the announcements, the spoilers, you should do it. And then if you also haven't been to the community group, you go there too. Excellent form of information. I've got a Discord, that's Universe X, as well as, you know, this channel where I'm putting this content up right now. So if you like the content, think about hitting that subscribe button. Lastly, if you were ever thinking about collecting things like metal cards, I do have a little bit of partnership with TCGMetalZ. You can go to the site, check out his inventory. He's always putting out new pieces of art, and for this time, you can put in the code UNIX, that's UNIX, to get 10% off your entire purchase. So, now that we are past the normal plugs, let's dive into my top 10 picks. We're gonna put the template, and we're gonna move right in. This is kind of a loose order, but it's still an order nonetheless. I'm coming in at number 1. And I mean like 1 as in 10 is the highest, 1 is the least. This is Kale Rampaging Demon. And yeah, it's deflect, double strike. When this card is played without using skills, choose one. You can either choose your opponent's battle cards, an energy cost of 3 or more, and place them at the bottom of their deck. And then if your leader is a blue Kale card, place 1 card from the top of your deck under your leader. Or if you have 7 or more energy, that's the kicker. Choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, place them at the bottom of their owner's decks, and this card gains barrier and dual attack for the turn. Okay, so I like this card because I do think it's powerful. I think it has a plethora of effects. Deflect is always good on a boss card. Double strike is good, it's 30k. This thing can gain barrier and dual attack if you have 7 energy. That's wild. That's just a huge boss. This thing can do 4 damage on its own with barrier and deflect. That is just monstrous. However, the couple things that kind of hold this card back is actually nothing to do with this card. The fact that Turning the Tide is still in the game, and Turning the Tide has deflect and shuffles the hand, pretty much just invalidates a card like this to a high degree. Because do you want to choose all your opponent's battle cards and then still let them keep their grip of like 18 cards that they can disrupt your turn with? Or would you rather play Turning the Tide for 2 more energy, but you had 7 anyway to use this effect, and wipe your opponent's hand into the Shadow Realm? Yeah, it's a no-brainer. So I really like this card. I just think that there are certain cards in the format that may or may not need to go that make this card just feel worse in general. Moving on to the next card. This card made the list almost off of looks alone. Hit Battlefield Manipulator is the coldest unison in this, like, just art-wise, in this entire set. Probably for a couple sets, if not most of the sets. This is one of the best looking unisons of all time. It's actually so wild that its SPR art does not touch its SR art. Like, it is so disgusting. But it's a 15k leader, or 15k unison, 2 specified, so you can't really just play it willy-nilly in Soul Striker. That's unfortunate. The auto, once per turn, it's your opponent's turn. When you play a blue card using a rival, add a marker to this card. That's pretty heat. Activate main, +1 draw, that's always good. And then you can 2 energy, -1, and if you're blue or Universe 6 and your opponent has 3 more energy, you can flip your leader card, or flip their leader card to the front, and they can't awaken or wish until the end of their next turn. This is very, very interesting because I think used perfectly, you could really destroy somebody. You can cut them off from effects, you can make them, you know, de-sensu beam them. But the issue here is that nowadays, like when the game first started, a lot of leaders had effects that were just completely different, like just on scales of power from their front side to their back side. But nowadays, a leader, because of these archetypes being so intricate or so themed, a leader nowadays generally does the same thing on its front that it does on its back. See what I'm saying? Like, so you're really just losing 5k, and if you cannot kill them, you're gonna allow them to awaken again. And that could be the difference between them drawing 2 more cards. That could be the difference between them untapping 2 more energy in the middle of a push play. Draw 1, untap 1. There's a lot of weird things about letting your opponent have the opportunity to awaken again that makes that -1 very risky. So it's here, like I said, on looks alone. I definitely will be picking up at least a playset of these just because it looks so clean. So clean. The next on the list is Vegeta and Kaba Lessons Learned. Energy Exhaust, Dual Attack, Arrival, Blue Yellow for either just blue or yellow. Cool. Auto, when this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less in rest mode and place it at the bottom of its owner's deck. This is actually really cool. It's cheap. It's dual attack on a 19k. 19k is a very magical number for pressuring things because they have to, like, yes, one card will still get it like done, but you're getting more and more card effects that are like, oh yeah, by the way, just give somebody 1,000, and that's not going to cut it for this. So they're going to have to burn a 5k combo, of course, every time this thing swings. It's just a really good poker, and if you dedicate one card to it, they still have to dedicate. Like, it's interesting. 19k is just a very, very solid number for pokes. And this comes out with dual attack, so it'll be able to harass pretty well. It's cheap, so it can trigger these arrival things, you know, that +1 on hit, you know, things like Kaba. It triggers these things, and that's actually pretty neat. And then the last effect on it, 4 or less is actually a really good number. Like, you know, on your turn, not on their turn because of the effect, but on your turn, this card can come out and literally put a Divine Presence to the bottom of the deck. So, yeah. This card is actually really, 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 really sturdy, just existing. It's not busted, it's not broken, but by no means is it underwhelming. It's just a solid piece. The next card, though, is a straight power creep, and I don't think yellow needed it, but that's going to be the same vibe for another card in here later. You got Sungoku Steadfast Assistance. Blocker, counterplay. This battle card being played is played in rest mode, and then you play this card and you draw 1 card. But yeah, permanent, when activating this card's counter skill from your hand, reduce the energy cost by 1 for each yellow extra card in your battle area, energy, or drop area. So you're going to turn this guy into a 1 cost crusher ball very, very quickly, who creates a body as well. I think this thing should have had Spirit Boost or something, because it's just, that's very strong. Yes, it's only 5k. Yes, there's a lot of things you can do with it. But the fact that this guy is literally just going to drop itself and then just be like, all right, like, you already know the deal, boss. like that's just kind of wild. Because it can essentially stop 2 attacks. You know, you counter something and it comes in tapped, and he's just sitting there as a blocker for another attack if they can't sequence around it to get it off the board. So it's just a very, very sturdy card. I don't think, with how defensive yellow already is, yellow needed a card this good, but it's just another sturdy piece. Not broken, but very, very solid. Now, I think I've said it in another video. I've probably said it in a couple of videos. I am a firm believer that when you have an effect that isn't normally found in a color, you need to look at that effect very, very closely. And so the next card, Finn, Coercion Incarnate, is one of those cards. Yes, it's a pseudo board wipe. It's a Punisher effect. Your opponent gets to choose something. If they have a barrier card and a non-barrier card and a bunch of non-barrier cards, they can choose the best non-barrier card. The barrier card can't be affected by this effect, and everything else goes. So yes, there's some playing around your opponent can do with this effect. However, this is still a pseudo board wipe in a color that hasn't really had that much access to it before. And it's for 2. 2 energy is not a huge investment, and it's got deflect. This card is actually just really, really solid. So yeah, that's crazy. Actually just very, very, very crazy. This is a really good card, and it can even turn sideways for 15k, so it can blow up a field and then be able to pressure a leader at neutral. Yeah, this is a very good card. I think it's worth picking up a playset, because even if it doesn't see play now, this is just one of those cards where randomly, like, if a black deck becomes best deck in format and there's another deck that's close to it but it goes wide, this card instantaneously becomes like a must main, or at least a side. So I think it's actually a really good point. Next, we got SS Broly, Brutality Beyond Measure. Now, this is just the boss card for the Broly archetype that's, for the most part, kind of underwhelming, especially with no touches to Super Saiyan 4 Absolute Annihilation. However, this thing has Deflect, it has Double Strike. It's just missing Barrier, but that's okay. Permanent, if your opponent has 3 or more energy and you have 5 or more red extra cards in your drop area, reduce the energy cost in your hand by 3, making this a 3 drop for a 35k Double Strike with Deflect. That's wild. That's already very strong. But auto once per turn, choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. When you activate the Activate Battle on a skill on a red extra card with an original cost of 3 or more in your hand or drop area, switch this card to active mode, and if the card you discarded with this skill is a copy of this card, draw 2 cards and then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards or unison cards. Ignoring barrier gains minus 35k. Now, this is where we're going to get into this one. I like the fact that in a game where you might only be going to turn 4, maybe 5, sometimes 6, you might not be able to resolve multiple copies sequentially of your boss card. Depends on the speed of your deck, depends on how your deck works, if you can untap, things like that. So I like these boss cards that are giving you options when you draw too many of your boss cards and you can only play 1 of them, maybe 2 of them. But the thing I like about this card is that 5 or more red extra cards in drop area actually isn't a lot. It's really not. Like, most red decks can do that easily. And just depending on how the format is and how you tune the deck. But the other part about it is the Activate Battle, which again is still not bad. Some of these Broly cards, you just need a red Sand Leader, not necessarily a Broly, like Gigantic Meteor. So in this case, this card may be more splashable than intended. Now, I'm not saying it has a home right now. I'm just saying I might pick up my SPRs and chill on them because I do think that this card isn't as unplayable as it seems. You do a little more research though. Next card, this should be no surprise. We're on number 7, SS2 Kefla Lightning Speed. This card is a monster. This is what I feel like this is a boss monster. I mean, it is Double Strike, Blocker, Arrival, blue, yellow, really good. Auto, when this card is played, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and place the bottom of its owner's deck. That's great removal. Limit 1, if your opponent has 3 or more energy and you choose 1 card in your hand, discard it. This card gains dual attack. That's 4 damage if it gets through. And if the card you discarded with this skill is a copy of this card, draw 2 cards and choose 1 of your opponent's cards and switch to rest mode, which means you can put a blocker out of the way. You can draw 2 cards for the onslaught. Like, this is a very nice momentum piece. It'll just keep you moving, keep swinging, and that's a 30k dual attack Double Strike. It doesn't have barriers, so that's a little scary, but that's still very powerful. Don't sleep on that. It's like an auto include the blue yellow decks right now. Next, I've got SS Kaba Proud Zenith, and I know this card isn't as impactful as Lightning Fast Kefla, but the reason why I have it 1 slot above, so it's got that magic 19k number, it's dual attack, it's blocker. But the thing is, it costs 3 to play when you meet the conditions, so this is perfect for a deck like Soul Striker. You play him and he draws 2 cards. And in Soul Striker, you have the defense necessary, but now you have Tapions, you have Proud Zenith, you have cards that you can stick on the board and start poking at your opponent while just defending yourself. And I love that. You play this guy on your opponent's turn and you're going to be able to refund 1/3 of its energy after bouncing a card to the bottom of the owner's deck. But you play it on your turn and it's just a pot of greed, which sometimes the deck desperately needs to just see more of its cards. So I definitely think that SS Kaba Proud Zenith is a really nice piece, and it's probably going to just be a nice piece to see in Soul Striker. It's just a generic good blue card. Unique kind of hurts a little bit, but I mean, it'd be what it'd be. I just think it's a really cool card. Now, number 9, Turles All Too Easy. This card, I don't know why they made this card. I'm gonna be real. It is so versatile. It is just one of the better yellow cards that's come out in a set in a little bit. Double Strike. When this card is played, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO it, then you choose 1. You either draw a card or you just choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO it. And it comes out for 2 with a mono yellow Sand. Not Sand only, but Sand. So any yellow Gohans will work. Yellow Trunks will work. Any Sand, that's a lot. If we get a yellow Pan, yeah, it's gonna work. But also, you know, you got Turles. You have any yellow Saiyan leader, why? You have the new Goku, the Hellku leader. It's just, it's honestly wild. And this guy's so momentum. You play him for 2 energy and you just blow up 2 rested cards, or you blow up a card and you replace himself. It's just, the power level on this guy is very high. It's not like he breaks the game. It's not like he is anything we haven't seen before, but he's a lot of effects on 1 card and he's straight momentum. He's gas. And then my final card on this list, I think after seeing everything up until now, you should kind of already know. There's not really a surprise. It's King Vegeta, Invasion's Command. I don't know what was thought when this was made. Counterattack Spirit Boost 1, play this card with 3 markers on it. I'll get back to that later. Permanent, during your opponent's turn, if a grade 8 card in play is in your battle area, reduce the specified cost of this card in your hand by 1 green. So he's going to be 2 green. Which makes him a total of, a 2 cost counter. Activate main +1, choose up to 1 card in your opponent's hand, or one of their battle cards, ignoring barrier, and place in his drop area. That's the most insane +1 I've ever seen on a unison, period. -X, activate main. For each marker you remove using this skill, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO. What is this unison? And the cool thing is, it encourages you to play a unison heavier deck, because there could be times where you're just like, okay, well, I want to do this, and just end up just sneaking this guy in. Like, imagine if, you have a unison with 1 marker on it, and so your opponent's like, okay, well, there are things they can do and there are things they can't do, and they commit to the plays, and at one point you're just like, yep, nope, Spirit Boost 1, playing this guy, and now they're open to a charismatic, they're just open to things that they did not realize they're going to be open to. So it's very interesting. I think that's wild. Like, they can be like, okay, I'm gonna just swing at the unison to get it off the field to lock them out of their free counter, and you're just like, yeah, counterplay this, and then they're like, okay, well, now I've got to reevaluate the turn. It is a very powerful card, and it can be cheated in during your opponent's turn, making it a little bit more unpredictable, and every single effect on it is gas. So yeah, King Vegeta's Invasion's Command is actually just insane, and he's one of my favorite unisons I've seen in a long time. So there we go. Those are my top 10 Saiyan Showdown picks. Let me know in the comments which ones you liked, which ones you didn't like. Let me know if you have cards that you felt like should have been on this list. Let me know if you have cards on my list that you think shouldn't even be here at all, because to be honest, Hit probably doesn't need to be here, but he looks so good. So thank you guys for watching. Like I said, if you like the content, smack that subscribe button, hit the likes, comment, help the algorithm push this video up, and thank you guys for your continued support. I will see you the next time you decide to join Universe X. Later.